Everyone is requested, please join. Our third session is about to start, and our beloved brother attorney Adam Malik is here, and we are starting the career counseling session. Everyone, I am going to bring everyone. Bring everyone. We don't have too much time. We already, 5 minutes late. We supposed to start 9 o'clock. He's waiting. He's a very busy attorney of this town. He just, please everyone. Everyone, yes. Yes, the boys will be here, because girls will come here, boys come here. Girls, all the girls should be on the right side, the boys on the right side. All the boys, everyone. Anybody, you can also sit here. Everybody come, everyone here. Girls should be here, yes, all the girls should be here, yes. Yeah, we are fortunate to have our dear brother attorney Adam Malik. He will talk about your career counseling. This is one of the best sessions, I would say, you are going to enjoy. Please listen to him carefully. This is something that when he goes in different seminars, he charges money. But just for the sake of Masjid, Alhamdulillah, he just give this honor that he is with us, and he's just giving you the best advice for your career, for your future. So please, a little bit call all the girls in the back. Yes. A little bit. Can you call Huri and everyone? All the girls, yes. Yeah, one of the one. I am ready to put here. The chair here. Attorney Adam Malik, and please pay attention. We will have a 25 minutes or 20 minutes discussion he will do, and then he will let you ask any question in the next 15 minutes. So please listen to him carefully and then prepare your questions after his talk. Brother Attorney Adam Malik, sir.
Are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead, please talk. I'm just going to get everybody.
I'm just checking if the camera's
check,
on.
you just have a seat. Let me do my job, okay? Yeah.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll get started. Hopefully everybody will join us soon.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to thank you for everybody to come and join me today. I am very excited to be here. This is a great opportunity to connect with the community members and our kids who are going to be, inshallah, leading the way for all of us in the future, inshallah. And may Allah guide you all. Ameen. So before I start talking about the field of law and the education of law, which I will a little bit to kind of cover the different spectrum of what's to be expected, let me first ask all of you a couple of questions so I get an idea about my audience, who I'm talking to, right? So first, why don't all of you tell me how many of you already know which field of education or profession that you want to go into? Raise your hands if you already know what it is that you want to do. Okay, that's a few people, that's good. And out of you guys, how many of you want to join the field of law? How many want to become lawyers or judges or prosecutors or something like that? Okay, I see 2 hands. That's very good. So I have a lot of people to convince tonight to change their mind and follow this path, right? So what I want to do is I want to tell you a couple of small jokes that I heard about the field of law, and then inshallah we'll begin talking about different things. So as you know, SMU is here in Dallas, and it's down the street. And a lot of people know that when President Bush retired, he came to live in Dallas area, right? So he was, I think, giving a graduation ceremony speech to the SMU students from the graduating class. I believe it was SMU. I could be wrong though, but it is online. After you hear me out, you can Google it or YouTube it, and you'll find out. So, he said to people in the audience, all the students, that, everybody who graduated with A's and B's as their average grade, congratulations to you. It's wonderful. You guys are going to do great. And all the people who graduated with a C average, he wanted to tell everybody that you too could be the President of the United States.
Yes.
So did you understand what he meant by that? He meant that his average grade when he graduated college or university was C. He was a C student, but he still made it to become the President of the United States. So what that means is that you have to be focused and you have to keep trying and trying and trying, and you can achieve any goals that you want, right? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of students, a lot of people think if you're not an A student, you couldn't be doctors, or you couldn't be engineers, or you couldn't be lawyers. So the point that I'm trying to make is that that's not true. Don't let other people kill your dreams. If that's what you want to do, if you keep working hard, you will get to that point, okay? So that's the first point that I wanted to make. The second joke that I wanted to tell you is one that my professor and dean of my university when I was in law school, in our orientation hall, he told us, right? And so, there's maybe a few hundred students who just got admitted into our law school, and everybody's sitting and everybody's scared because they don't know what they're going to get. First year of law school is very, very difficult. It's a lot of studying. So to make matters worse, he goes like, while you're sitting, look at everybody towards your right. So we looked at everybody to our right. And then he said, look at everybody who's on your left. And we looked at everybody looked at their left, the person who was sitting. He says, one of those two people, or one of you three, including yourself, I suppose, is not going to make it. It's not going to graduate. So you're going to drop out, or you're going to fail, or something's going to happen along the way, and you're not going to go get to that finish line. Point being that just because you got there is not enough. You have to work hard. You have to study. You have to work hard to be able to make it to the finish line, to be able to graduate. The reason, my brothers and sisters, I'm telling you this, is that education is very, very important. And there's a lot of people that you will see around you, and you will hear from in your life, as you guys are young, you'll meet a lot of people that will tell you that going to college is not going to make any difference. Going to college is not going to do any benefit. You can still make a lot of money if you don't go to college, if you drop out. And then we'll give you examples like people who've made it big, right? Like Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, I think he didn't graduate, or some other people who went to college, started college, and didn't complete all the way. Well, those are very, very few exceptions. And that's not the rule, that's the exception. That's very few people who make it big, or who make it without finishing their education or working hard to get to where they get, right? So the point is that you have to work very hard, you have to be focused, and if you're focused and if you work hard, you can achieve any dream, anything that you want to be. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And I'll tell you my own story. When I graduated college, I was living in California. That's where I grew up, in San Francisco. And I was going to college in San Francisco, and because I had to pay for my own college, I didn't have any, family paying for my tuition. I didn't have any loans that I could take out. And it was a place where the cost of living is very, very high. still is to this day. And so I had to work almost 70 to 80 hours a week and go to school full time just to be able to pay my bills. So I could pay my rent, I could pay, my tuition, I could pay my school, my, car insurance, my gas, all of those expenses that, we all have to pay. So I had to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week to be able to do that. So obviously because of that, my grades suffered. And so I wasn't the best of the students. My grades weren't very high. But I was determined to go to college and finish college, and I graduated. And so I, always wanted to be a lawyer. But because my grades weren't that great, I somehow told myself that because I was not an A student, or I didn't have, I was smart, obviously, I could do other things. I went to law school eventually. So in hindsight, I was smart, but I had told myself that the kind of education or the kind of focus and determination and the studying that's needed to be a lawyer, I couldn't do it. So I told myself that. And that kept me from going to law school. So I graduated and then waited many, many, many years before I went back to law school, and I, obviously successfully completed it. So the moral of the story is that sometimes we bring ourselves down. We tell ourselves that, no, this is something that I cannot do. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. So learn from me. That's the purpose of this seminar. Keep focused on what you want to achieve, what you want to do, and keep working hard. I promise you, if you keep working hard at whatever it is that you want to do, you can achieve it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Now, let me talk a little bit about what it takes or what the requirements are to get into law school and kind of guide you through that process. And then whatever it is that you guys want to talk about, I'll open the floor to answer the questions because those are more important. So I can specifically target the questions that you guys have. So while I'm talking about these different things, please think of the questions that you want to ask. I want this to be more interactive so I can answer your questions, okay? So one of the requirements of law school is that you have to have a 4-year degree, you have to have a college degree. So after high school, you have to finish college. You can't go to law school in the United States or Canada without completing your bachelor's degree. Now in the UK, where they have the LLB system, England and some of the other countries, you can do a bachelor's degree, which is a law degree. It's called LLB. We in the United States have what is known as JD. It's a doctorate degree. It's called Doctorate of Jurisprudence. So according to Texas law, people who graduate as lawyers from these degrees, they can also use the title doctor. So like PhD doctors, right? So I'm a doctor and I'm an attorney in that sense. So I have a doctorate degree in jurisprudence, which is the law. And so you have to have your bachelor's degree, and then you apply to a law school, and then the law school is generally 3 years of education in law school. Now there's a lot of things that you have to do before that. You have to take the LSAT exam, just like your SATs after high school. This is LSAT, which is LSAT, which is an exam that you have to take before you are admitted into law school. You have to get recommendation letters from people who work with you. You have to provide your transcripts. You have to take the LSAT, make a certain score depending on where you want to go to law school, and that's what you have to do. Now, law school is very expensive, and so if nobody's paying for you, know that you can always take loans. Now, understand that a lot of people say that, lawyers charge a lot of money when you go seek advice or you need legal help. Well, it's because they've had to pay a lot of fees to get there, right? So they've had to have their bachelor's degree, then they study for the LSAT, sometimes takes up to a year, then you you study for the LSAT, and you wait around for that results to come through, then you start applying to different various law schools, and then when you're admitted, then you start your 3-year journey. And it's a very, very difficult journey because people, the first year of law school is very, very tough. I remember in our orientation again, we were told that a lot of people who are married and going to law school and they don't have time for their spouses, they a lot of the times end up getting in divorce. And so obviously that's not going to happen to our brothers and sisters, right? Because we understand that. But a lot of people end up having a breakdown in their relationship because they don't have time for that. So maybe that's why you want to go to law school before you get married. So you don't have that problem. So then you go through law school and then you take the bar exam. And it's basically an exam that can ask you about anything you've been studying and things that you've not been studying in law school, more. And then you have to take a bar prep course, you have to study day and night, and then you finally take your bar exam, and then you wait hand over foot, or whatever, foot over hand, I don't know what that expression is, right? And then wait for your bar results to come through. And if you've passed your bar, one more thing, you have to take an MPRE exam as well. That's a different exam. That exam is for the ethics. So the lawyers have to follow a lot of ethical rules. And I know there's jokes that lawyers are not very ethical, but that's not always really true. There's a lot of ethical rules that you have to follow. You have to make sure that the clients are protected. You can't do things that create even an appearance of conflict of interest, and that's something that you will learn. And then once you pass both of these exams, the MPRE, the ethics exam, and your bar exam, then you become a licensed lawyer. And then you can practice law and you can represent people with their problems. One thing I understood after I became a lawyer, which, I suppose it was obvious, but a lot of people don't see it that way. And it hit me that, even though we don't like to tell people around us, or we don't like to share these kinds of issues or situations, but everybody around you has problems, is going through problems. And sometimes they don't talk about them, but just because somebody seems very happy or doesn't talk about their problems doesn't mean that they don't have problems. So when you're growing up and when you're in your age like you are and you have some kind of a problem, don't think that you're the only person in the world who Allah is testing. And you're the only person who's going through this tough time and nobody else around you is going through a tough time like you are. I understand that your problem is the biggest problem to you. But believe me, other people might be going through bigger problems than you are. It's just that people don't generally share their problems because they're, private about these kinds of things, so you don't get to know that. I get to know that is because I'm an attorney. People come to me with their problems. And similarly, if you're working in the mosque, like Brother Baba Rahmani or the Imam Sahib, when people have problems, a lot of times they come with their problems to these folks. And that's when they share their deepest, darkest problems or situations that they're dealing with. And just like they help people, we help them from the legal perspective. So, this is my understanding, and I believe it was an hadith. I can't remember the exact hadith, but from my recollection growing up, I remember that there was a conversation with a Sahabi, with a companion of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that he was getting ready for some kind of prayer, or I think it was some kind of a what is the word that I'm looking for? Ibadah.
that he was supposed to do, and somebody came and asked him to help him out with something, and he didn't go and do that because he felt that if he went, then he wouldn't be doing his ibadah, or he would lose the opportunity to do the ibadah. And then the moral of the story, from my recollection, and I don't have the exact story, and I'm sure the Imam Saab here or Brother Ramani would be able to tell you better, but the point was that if he would have left the ibadah that he was going to get all of this benefit out of, if he would have gone to help somebody, he would have gained more benefit out of that by helping somebody else, rather than stand there and pray the Nawafil prayer or fast or whatever the case. Obviously, we're not talking about the fard ones, but the Nawafil ones, right? So the point is that there's a lot of benefit in helping other people. And when I do that on a daily basis, I feel that power, that I'm able to help people with the problems that they have, that they are unable to help themselves with, or go to other people sometimes to seek the help. And so I feel that it is a very noble profession in that sense, that we're able to help the public and our Muslim brothers and sisters, obviously, and that's why you serve the community that you're a part of. And so that's basically a little background about how to become a lawyer, or what the life of a lawyer is. But at the same time, I want you to also understand that sometimes we watch movies or hear from people, and we look at the lives of lawyers, that they have this very luxurious life, and everything is easy, like that that TV serial Suits, if you guys watch that, or whatever the case may be. But I want you to know that it's not that easy. It's a very tough life. It brings with it a lot of stress. It's a very stressful profession, just like a lot of the other professions. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because when you want to choose a profession that you want to go into, you want to know about it. You want to know the goods and the bads, right, about that profession. And unfortunately, it's one of those professions that has a lot of stress that comes with the job. It's part of the territory. And so that's something that you have to learn early on to deal with, whether it's to be involved in exercise, physical exercise, running, going to the gym, whatever it is, be around friends and family and have a good support system. But it is a very, very stressful job. It is one of the highest suicide rates in the United States, one of the professions with the highest suicide rates. I don't think it's the highest, but it's one of them. So that's something that you have to be very, very careful. Obviously, it's, another issue comes with lawyers is, alhamdulillah, that, we don't have that problem, but, we live in that society. So your colleagues, people that you will work with, may have that problem. A lot of people fall for drinking. Drinking is a big vice that, people fall into because people cannot handle the stress. And obviously, your connection with Allah and coming to the mosque and staying connected to your religion would help you stay away from such vices. And so that's all I have, and I think I'm going to open it up to a question and answer session. I would love for you to ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you.
Correct me. It is said that this country is made for only two people, doctors and
Brother Ramani, I think it's said in a way, I think from a professional sense, that it's an assumption that all lawyers make a very good living. And yes, it's true to a certain extent. But I think it's also overrated. Not every lawyer and not every doctor makes a very successful career. A lot of lawyers and a lot of doctors work as just having a job. Obviously, there are very successful lawyers and doctors. So I think you have to take that with a grain of salt. But however, I will say this, that because America has been built or structured in a way that the rule of law is followed to an extreme level compared to a lot of other countries, and people are more aware or focused on their rights. That's why I think lawyers have a more bigger place in the society than a lot of other countries. Because we are so litigious as a community, you know, if something goes wrong, talk to my lawyer, I'm going to sue you. I mean, that's just a natural way of handling situation. So obviously because of that, you know, the society or the community thinks of lawyers as the all-powerful, as the almighty. And I think, I mean, it may be true to a certain extent, because when you're informed and you can take people to court and hold their feet to fire and make them do the right thing, obviously that gives you an extra amount of power that people sometimes feel that lawyers have.
In terms of money, I mean, I'm a doctor makes good money, but especially, I mean, for this case, if you're drawing on 35 or I-30 or I-20, you see big, huge billboards, and it says 35 million, 40 million, 6 million. Is that really true? I mean, that's what it means.
So I will tell you what you're talking about, Brother Rahmani, are personal injury lawyers. And so that's not all lawyers. These are personal injury lawyers when somebody has or has been involved in an accident. Or, you know, you take a child to the hospital and the child dies because of the malpractice of the doctor. The hospital did something wrong. So then you get to see these big numbers that the jury or the judges award as damages. Because, you know, let me ask you, I mean, what is the price of your child or my child's life? So if something goes wrong with my child when I take them to the hospital, or my brother or my sister, what is the price of their life? I mean, so that's why when these personal injury lawyers take these kinds of cases to the court and they litigate them, they are able to get these big numbers. But you also have to understand that these lawyers that you see these ads for are very, very few in number. And this is also to be understood that it is a business, because these personal injury lawyers, they have to invest all of their own money up front and not know if they're going to win at the end or not, because these cases are on contingency. What means is the lawyer gets paid only if we win. And so yes, it is true that there are outcomes of this, you know, magnitude, but there's a lot that goes into it. So these lawyers, these are big law firms that are spending a lot of money in hiring expert witnesses and footing the medical cost and other things before they will ever even see a single dollar. And sometimes they see nothing. So it averages out. So yes, to answer your question, yes, it's true, but the Lord doesn't get to keep all the money.
You're right. I mean, for exactly, I mean, for these kind of things that you sitting over here and hundreds of people are watching right now, if they are finishing, these boys are finishing the high school, what's the 3 steps would you suggest if they just want to see themselves in the future as an attorney? What are 3 steps you just want to give them to prepare themselves to meet to that point?
Well, unfortunately, 3 steps are not enough. There's a lot more steps, but I will tell you some of the important things. One of the most important things is to stay away from social media.
Wow.
Stay away from social media. You need to listen to me. I'm telling you, if you try to look me up on any social media, you're not going to find me. I use no social media. My firm has a social media page that somebody else runs. I don't have the login. I don't know where to go to log in. I don't know anything about social media. I do not use social media. Your reputation is very, very important. It is going to follow you until you die in this country in today's day and age. So any stupid mistake that you make as a child, and when we are kids, we all do stupid stuff. I'm not saying you're not going to do it or you shouldn't do it or whatever the case may be, but the social media is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. And sometimes that will be the difference in you becoming successful and not so successful. So stay away from social media. That's one thing. Second thing, don't get in trouble. If you do something, again, something silly, something stupid, something childish, sometimes in this country, especially if you have a police record, your neighbor calls the cops on you because you look different, because your clothes are different, or you did the wrong thing, or you were around the wrong people at the wrong time, kind of a thing. That record that will be created will follow you for the rest of your life. So you have to be very, very careful about your reputation, about these kinds of things, and I would highly recommend stay away from all social media. I promise you nothing good will ever come out of you using social media. Only bad things will happen. Only bad things will happen. Don't use social media. And when you get to that point that you're putting Islamic videos online or other things, you can make them, let somebody else handle it. You don't be the one ticking all the time. Stay away from social media, okay? So if you go on YouTube or Facebook or some other places, you're gonna find videos of me marketing my law firm. But again, they make my videos, they edit them, they put them on the account. I do not even have the access to my law firm's account, even though it really belongs to me, but I don't do it. Stay away from social media. It's addictive. It takes you to the wrong path. It's gonna get you in trouble more than it's gonna help you. So keep your record clean. Stay on the right path. And what can make you stay on the right path better than staying connected with your masjid, with Allah, and it's gonna keep you on the right path. So mashallah, you're already doing that. You're here. That's the step that you need to take. So that's definitely very important. Volunteer during your summers. Don't waste your time. Don't stay home and play video games because I have no homework. I don't have to do anything. Come and volunteer at the masjid. Come and volunteer at the mosque's office. Make phone calls. Do whatever they ask you to do. Volunteer at a hospital. Volunteer somewhere where you're going to learn something. That's the other thing that you need to know. And another thing, when people say, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer, what kind of undergraduate degree that I want to get? You can do your undergraduate degree in anything that you desire. It will make no difference. The one that you find the easiest so you can keep your GPA high. It doesn't matter because you can do it in English, you can do it in Islamic studies, you can do it in whatever you want. It will lead to the law school. I mean, there's no requirements like, becoming a doctor, you have to do pre-med. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do pre-law. You can do anything. My undergraduate degree was in computers and business. And, I took these accounting classes and these finance classes, and I was like, when am I ever going to use that? I'm never going to use that. I used to always think that. And then I became a lawyer, and then I have to run a law firm, and everything that I learned about accounting or finance, I have to use that in my law firm because we have to keep accounting. We have to pay, we have to file taxes. We have to do all of those things. We have to do finances to make sure that, we run the firm correctly and with profit. So everything that you learn along the way, believe me, it's all going to come together when you have your law firm or you are become a doctor and you run your own practice of a medical business. It's all going to come together because you're not only going to be a doctor or a lawyer, you're also going to be a business person. You're going to be an entrepreneur. A lot of people don't understand that. So it's very important to learn those different traits while you have time in your high school, in your college time. Go and volunteer. If you have a family friend who owns a business, go work with them. Anything else? Any other questions, guys? Yes.
You have often used what is a specific type of pyramid, like the top of the pyramid?
Okay, so a lot of different countries have it differently. They have lawyers work differently. But in the United States, once you become a licensed attorney, you can do any kind of law, except for patent law. I think you also need engineering stuff with that because that's very, very specialized. But you could, I mean, if I knew what to do, I could practice criminal defense work. I could do personal injury. I could do immigration. I could do family law. I could do civil. I could do anything. There's no specific exam or law school that you have to go to be able to do anything specific. But generally, lawyers pick one or two things because then you become focused in those things and you know them better and better how to handle those. So you do that. So for example, my law firm does family law and immigration. And so I personally only practice immigration law. So, I mean, it's not that if I had a client and I needed to go represent them in something else, I couldn't do it. I can do it. For example, you know, I do immigration and a couple of my clients, you know, when they get in trouble with the law, there was one of my clients was getting investigated by the FBI. So I represented him, you know, with the FBI. I could do that. You know, sometimes people get in other kinds of trouble, so I go with them and represent them in other kinds of things. But my primary practice area is immigration. I hope that answers. Yes? Okay, very good question. Yes. So the young sister asked, in a criminal case, if a lawyer is representing a criminal, does the lawyer take the criminal person's side, or are we judging them? So the way it works is that there's a government's attorney who is telling the judge. A judge is a neutral party who's sitting on the top of the bench, if you've seen in the movies or series, some TV series, right? He's sitting up top, he's listening to both sides. So when two people are fighting, in this case, one is prosecuting the other. We use the word prosecution. So there's a prosecuting attorney that usually works for the government and says, this person has done so-and-so bad thing and I want him to go to jail. And then that person can hire a private lawyer, and that private lawyer makes sure, one, to defend him if he hasn't committed the crime. And if he has committed the crime, then the job of the lawyer is to make sure that the other side does not violate their rights, and they do their job correctly. So they protect their constitutional and other rights. They could be lying, but it is not that person's job to present their case. That's why they say the criminal, the person who's charged, has the right to remain silent. So they don't have to say anything. It's the government's job to present to the court that he actually did commit the crime. Because anybody can go say, you know, you did so and so. It shouldn't be your job to prove that you didn't do that. If I am complaining and I'm saying you did something wrong, that I should be able to put up the evidence and show that you did something wrong. Okay? Well, we're going to get into all of that later, but that's the answer to your question. You don't have to have evidence. The other side has to present the evidence.
What was your average high school grade?
Average high school? Grade? For who? For me. Okay. So my average high school grade, I think, I want to say was B+. And in college, I told you I was working about 60 to 70 hours a week because I was paying for everything. So my my college grades went down, but then I went and got my master's degree when I was a little more established before I went to law school, and then my grades went up again. All right, yes. Can I pick my cases? Okay, so that's a very good question. So if I am working as a private lawyer, I can accept or decline representation for people. So some people come and they meet with me, and it's called having a consult. So when they come and talk to me and they tell me, hey, we have this problem that we need your help with. Can you help me? Can you not help me? and at that time I give them advice what they should or should not do, or if I am able to help them or not able to help them. And if I don't feel like there's much that I can add to or bring to the table, then I politely decline to take those cases. All right. Anybody else? Yes. I'm sorry? Yes, I am a private lawyer, which means that I have my own practice, or I could be working for another lawyer who's in private practice. And then there's lawyers who work for the government. And then, not every lawyer who's licensed necessarily goes and works as a lawyer. There's a lot of jobs that people have that are lawyers, but they're not working as a lawyer, meaning they're not really representing people. So a lot of these people that you see in politics who are congressmen or senators and stuff, or even the presidents, a lot of the times they're lawyers. For example, Bill Clinton. President Bill Clinton was an attorney. Barack Obama, he was an attorney. Hillary Clinton was an attorney. So a lot of people go into politics, they become lawyers first, and then they go into politics because as lawyers, they understand how the legal system works. So that's helpful. Yes. How long do I work? A lot of hours. So when you start, sometimes you're working 60, 70 hours a week. When I was in law school, I was studying long hours. So I had no life when I was in law school. When I finished law school and I was studying for the bar exam, I remember that I only took breaks to eat or to go to bathroom or go to sleep. Other than that, maybe I was studying, sitting on my dining table with all the books around me, and I was maybe studying for 16, 17 hours a day when I was studying for the bar exam. So you have to study a lot, and after that, you have to work a lot. But after you've been practicing for maybe 5 to 7 years, then it kind of cools off. Then it depends on if you're in private practice or if you're in the government, depending on what you're doing. So now, I have my own schedule. I can take more time off if I want to. I can work longer if I want to. So life is a little easier after many years. Yes. Yeah, so you become a private attorney even when you're an associate. So you are already an attorney when you're working for another firm, and the answer is yes. I worked for another law firm before I started my own practice and opened my own law firm. And I worked for them for several years, and then I started my own practice. But I also worked for the government. I was a federal agent, a federal officer for the United States Department of Homeland Security before I went into private practice. Yes, brother. It's not difficult. It is just something that you have to put things in motion for, right? You have to be a lawyer first. You have to, have the knowledge on how you're gonna, run the law firm. So you have to be a business person. You have to know how to market yourself. You need to have money to be able to support and pay for rent or people that you're going to hire. So you have to be somewhat established, and the business is coming in, or you can work very slowly and grow as you get a seasoned lawyer. So I don't think that it's difficult. I think it takes work, and it takes a lot of work to get to a successful law firm. Like those car accident ones. Yes, so you can start, it's called personal injury lawyer, by the way. So to become a personal injury lawyer, you definitely want experience. And so you work for another law firm, get some experience, and then you can open your own law firm. Okay? Yes. Do I represent companies? No, I do not represent companies. I represent people. Yes. I am the owner and I don't have a partner. So I have other attorneys that work for me, and I am the owner of the law firm. That's correct. Yes. So that's a good question, because it depends on how complex the case is and what the case is. There's no set number. It depends on how long it's going to take an attorney to do something. And so you charge based on the time you're going to spend on a case. So there's two ways lawyers bill, or actually three ways. One way to bill is you bill hourly. So for example, you come to me, you have a problem. I say, I don't know how long it's going to take. You give me $5,000. I'm going to put into what's known as a trust account. And when I work, I keep taking money out. So when I work 2 hours, I take 2 hours worth of money out. When I work 3 hours, I take another 3 hours worth of money. When that money, that 5,000 goes down, I ask you to put more. Or if the case is finished, then I give you a refund. That's known as a retainer or an hourly charge. Then there's a flat rate fee. So if I can estimate how long it's going to take for me to handle the problem that you've presented me with that I need to handle, and I know that there's not a lot of variables in it, this is how long it's going to take, then I'll give you an estimate amount and I say, okay, I'm going to charge you $2,500 to handle that. And then the third one is those personal injuries lawyers that we were talking about. They only get paid if the client gets paid by the other side. And that's called a contingency fee. So that's usually how lawyers get paid. All right?
Something I've been wondering. So my sister, she's a public defender. She said that even if she knows her client is did something illegal or whatever, she can't tell the judge that. The client can't tell her. But I was trying to figure out if you're taking an ethics exam and stuff, how does that uphold justice?
So just because I am representing somebody who committed a crime doesn't mean that I'm lying for them. So, I can still be ethical. So let's say somebody comes to me and he has, so by the way, speeding is a crime, right? So when you guys get older and get driver's license, or some of you might have driver's license, right? So when you're driving and the speed limit says 60 and you're going 75 and you're pulled over and you're given a ticket, what's that? That's a crime. It's the lowest level of a crime, but that's still a crime. So if you come to me and you say, Attorney Malik, please protect me because my insurance is going to go up, save me from this ticket. I don't want to, plead guilty. And I say, okay, I'll go to the court and we will see if you actually are guilty, right? So just because I'm representing you now, a criminal, a small crime, but it's still a crime, so I'm representing you, doesn't mean that I'm lying. So I'm making sure that how did the police officer in this case knew that you were speeding over the limit? How did he know? What kind of machine, like a radar, did he use? Was his radar gun serviced? Was he producing correct numbers? Was he using it on another car and maybe accidentally pulled you over? All of those questions have to be answered without me saying whether you speeded or you didn't speed. So that's the job of a criminal defense attorney. Okay? All right. Yes. Oh, that's a very good question. I spend most of my time handling administrative stuff. Because I'm the owner of the firm, I have to run the law firm. So I'm doing a lot of business kind of things, right? I am making sure my employees get paid on time. I make sure that, my clients pay the law firm on time. The rent is paid on time. Then I do consultations when people come in and talk to me. And I make sure that things are done correctly in the office. All of those administrative things to run the law firm. That's what I do because I'm the managing business attorney. Now, if I was not managing the business, then I would be more focused on the cases. But I have other staff members that work on the actual cases, and they come to me when something is very complex and they can't understand because I have more experience with these things. So they'll come and talk to me and they'll say, I'm thinking about this. What is your opinion? And I say, yeah, you can do this or that, or go research it in that book, or go research it in that book, or, those kinds of things. So I am more involved in running the law firm than actually practicing the law. And that's the problem of when you have your own law firm, because you have to run the law firm. Yes? So I don't have the exact numbers, but if I had to guess, there's more private lawyers than the government lawyers, for sure, by far. Because government has only limited number of jobs than there are lawyers. So there's more private lawyers than there are government lawyers. And again, just because you're a lawyer and you're working for the government, you're not always working as a lawyer. You might have other jobs in the government, but you are a licensed lawyer, if that makes sense. All right? Yes? A paralegal. So a paralegal, it depends on how you get to that position. So it depends on which kind of law you want to practice. And you don't really need a degree to become a paralegal. You don't even need to go to school. So you find a law firm that's either willing to give you an opportunity to learn on the job, or you can take a paralegal certificate course. They range from 6 months to 2 years generally, and a lot of the community colleges offer those certificates. And then you mostly learn everything on the job. They'll teach you the basics, but again, depends on, you want to be a criminal attorney paralegal, immigration attorney paralegal, family law attorney paralegal. So there's different areas of law. So it depends on what you want to do, but most of it you will be learning on the job. So you can certainly take a certificate course and then go get yourself a job, an entry-level position, and then learn on the job and excel through there. Okay.
Okay, the last question. It's kind of funny. A father who has been driving all his life on family, when he saw, when he sees a Ferrari, he says, my son, if you go to the college, if you finish your law or medicine, you can have one day this Ferrari. In terms of making money, what is an average good income and you make per year? For these kids, because some of them maybe in the future they might be pursuing law school. So for all of them, always you need to see something like these people, always get tempted in the Bible or anything. In terms of, I would say, money, how much money an average attorney, even after finishing the law school, in the next 3 to 5 years, he or she can make?
That's a very good question, Brother Ramani, but it's not a straightforward one, because it's going to depend on what kind of work they're doing after a lawyer. So there's various different things you can do. So I'll give you some numbers to give you an idea, but it's going to depend on what you want to do and what kind of law you want to practice, and then as you grow older, where you end up. So if you are starting in private firm and you graduate on top of your class, maybe like top 5%, right? Your starting salary could be anywhere between $100,000 to $140,000. If you graduated on top of your class and you end up getting a position in a big law firm, like one of the larger companies. If you didn't end up in, and it also depends on which school you go to, right? Because depending on how good your school is, those are the job prospects you're going to have. So if you work hard and you graduate from a good law school and you graduate on top of your class, to make right off the bat starting over $100,000, between $100,000 and $150,000 should not be a problem. So that kind of gives you some idea. Then you obviously can go work for the government, which would be a little less, but you will have more perks and more benefits working for the government. You could become, you can take a foreign service exam and you can work for the US embassies or consulates around the world, and you can travel the world. You could become an attorney for the military, and you can travel around the world. So there's number of positions and options that are available for you, and different positions and different options are going to bring a different level of financial success. Okay? Anybody else?
Don't get that not only speaking English as a unit, but if you speak multiple languages, you can amount of difference that you can make. Take a little language class.
Look, definitely, I think learning another language and speaking another language definitely helps in the field of law. Knowing another language will definitely come in handy, no matter what language it is. But living in America, living in Texas, I would say, other than the language of your parents, definitely also learn Spanish. You have to learn Spanish. It's very, very important. And you know, as the community grows and, you know, our kids speak Spanish, they can bring all these people, Hispanic people, to Islam. You have another duty on that. Because we all speak English, but who's gonna, you know, reach out from an Islamic perspective to this big population that's untapped? You have a responsibility to take Allah's message to them as well. Yes. So I wish you all the best. You're on the right path. Think about these things that we talked about. If you have any questions, reach out to me. You can Google my name. You'll get my law firm's website. Look me up. Send a message or talk to Brother Ramani and then reach out. All right? Thank you very much, guys. I wish you all the best.
Everybody come. Let me make a group photo. Everybody come and yes.
All right.
Everybody come. Everyone.
Quick question, sir.
Okay, I'm running late, inshallah, another time maybe. You have to call me, but I have to go because I'm already late.
Guys, everyone come.
I would have gotten a good question.
Assalamu alaikum.
I would have gotten a good question. When it comes to self-defense, would it be a trouble?
What would be what?
Would people have trouble when it comes to lawyers and stuff? When it comes to self-defense?
I don't understand your question.
You know how people get judged either if the self-defense is moral or not?
Oh yeah, that's a moral thing. I mean, you know, people will be people. We live in a community. People are always going to judge. I mean, you just have to do the right thing. Here in Carrollton.
Yes. Can you stand here? Can you
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. All right, brother. I have to run.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Inshallah, we'll talk soon. Thank you very much.
Just quick question.
Okay, now you guys now have 30 minutes, okay? 30 minutes. Yeah, go to the storage unit and come inside and take the phone because you have to do first line.
Are you guys busy with this?
Huh?
हाँ अभी